What's up, guys? So we ventured off into the Mark Twain National Forest and found this free campground here. I think it's called the Berryman Campground. I think that's right. It's like in the northern section of the Mark Twain National Forest here in Missouri. As you can probably tell by the title of this video, it is also very hot outside. Record heat going on all across the Midwest right now. Heat index is approaching, oh, there's bugs everywhere, approaching like 95 to 98 degrees everywhere. It's been fun to deal with. It is a little bit cooler hanging out underneath the canopy of the trees here than it would be in direct sunlight, so that's good. The campground has 8 total sites throughout it, and they're all relatively close together, and right now I'd say at least half of them are occupied, so I'm trying to keep my voice down a little bit as to not disturb my neighbors and everything, and also just something doesn't feel right about walking around talking loudly to a camera out here. It's just so quiet and peaceful in the woods. It's only like 5 o'clock, but I'm starving, so it's time for an early dinner. The plan for tonight is to try to make some flour tortilla pizzas. I'm pretty sure I saw this originally on Brian's channel, Adventure Van Man. Something similar to it maybe. He's always making things like that, and I was like, that looks really cheap and really delicious, and I've been wanting to try it for like over a month now, and finally getting the chance to do it. The consistency of it is a little weird. I think I might have either used too much sauce or not enough cheese, but it tastes really good, so I guess that's all that matters. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty rare that I cook something for myself and want to eat more of it, but I'm gonna go make myself another one right now. Thank you, Brian, for the inspiration. These are absolutely delicious. I've been making pizzas all night. I'm gonna have some leftovers for tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. Probably, in hindsight, didn't choose the best night to be doing this considering how hot it is outside, but I'm pretty happy with the result. I have learned that I really need to upgrade this lid. It's just a plate right now, and while it does fit perfectly, it's also pretty dangerous. I've burned my hands a couple of times. You can hear thunder in the background, but it's been doing that for the past like 20 minutes or so, and it still hasn't started to rain. It's a little disappointing. I kind of want to just like stand out in a pouring rain shower and try to cool off. I love thunderstorms. And now it's hailing. I don't love thunderstorms anymore. It is so much more comfortable out there now. It's so much cooler after the storms from last night. It feels amazing this morning. If I didn't have to be up in Illinois tomorrow for work, I'd consider staying here another night. I do hate the fact that there's no cell service, though. It's kind of hard to get on the internet, or actually it's impossible to get on the internet, so I need to look into maybe getting like a range extender. I know that they make things like that where I could boost my signal so that I can actually get online and communicate with people while I'm out here. So staying cool in the van when I'm dealing with crazy heat waves like that, it's not really that difficult. This isn't like rocket science or anything like that, but I wanted to talk a little bit about it because it has been so hot here in the Midwest. My first defense against hot weather is just avoiding hot weather climates altogether. My house has wheels, so in theory I should be able to move it from place to place and not be in a spot that gets really hot. You can also use geology to your advantage. I know I've said this before, but if you're in a mountainous area, go up to higher elevation when it gets hot. It's cooler up there, and then, or go to the coast. If you live by the coast, you can go down to the coast, you can hang out by the water, and it'll be a lot cooler there as well. So just taking those things into account. Even yesterday, like coming out to the National Forest, I mentioned the tree cover a little bit. That's a little bit nicer. It helps to keep things at least marginally cooler than it would be if I was like out in the middle of a parking lot or something like that. But sometimes I find myself in a situation where there are abnormally high temperatures or an unseasonably warm, crazy heat wave going on or something like that, like I had to deal with back in Florida earlier this year and again now in the Midwest. And when that happens, my defense for really warm nights like that is to just blast the AC up front while I'm looking for a place to park for about 10 or 15 minutes. I try to get it as cold as possible in here, and then I'll set up the bed. Even last night I kept the AC running while I set up the bed for about 10 minutes or so, and it made it nice and cool in here. And then I've got my 12-volt fan as well. I've always had a 12-volt fan. It plugs right into my solar system. It's so easy to get this thing to run. I mean, you could even run it on like a portable jump starter pack if you needed to, or even on the car battery, I guess. And I don't know if I'd recommend that because this particular one from Walmart is like $10 and it's great. It's really cheap and it does an amazing job, but it draws a lot of power and it's really loud. So the power part could be an issue for a car battery, and the fact that it's loud is also kind of annoying because it just makes these crazy noises in the middle of the night. Here, let me show you. Like, you hear that rattle noise? Sometimes it like makes a loud screeching rattle and it'll actually wake me up out of a sound sleep. So aside from that, the fan definitely works wonders and it's pretty amazing. I definitely would recommend having one if you're stuck in an environment where the temperature gets really warm for an extended period of time. But a big part of this is also, I hate to say it, but it's just sucking it up, right? I mean, living the van life isn't all peaches and roses. I think I just made that expression up. I don't think that's actually an expression, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like, at times you're gonna be uncomfortable, and that's okay. Like, people lived without AC for hundreds of years in places like New Orleans where it gets really hot all the time, and they survived just fine. So not having AC on a few warm nights throughout the year and just having to use a 12-volt battery-powered fan, like, it's not the end of the world, and it's something for me that is worth making for the sacrifice of being able to live on the road and not having to pay rent. I should add that I also try to stay as hydrated as possible on hot nights like that. Like yesterday when I was cooking up those pizzas, I was drinking a ton of water because I was sweating a lot, obviously, so you want to try to replenish those fluids if you can, and I think that's really important. You don't want to like wake up in the middle of the night with a cramp or something like that. That can be really uncomfortable and pretty painful. And then also, people ask if I open up the windows at all, and generally speaking, I do not. I'm normally stealth camping, I'm normally urban camping, so I'm not going to open up those windows in those situations. Sometimes I might open up the sunroof to get some extra airflow, but usually I just leave them all closed up. And there are other options as well if you're maybe stuck in a hot environment for the majority of the year. I've seen folks like create, I think they're called swamp coolers, where they take ice and put them in an ice chest and then use fans to distribute the cold air throughout the van. You could also just use like a traditional AC system and either set up a generator or use shore power to keep it running. But for me, like, those are things that I just haven't really had to do. They have a Cuba, Missouri too, although no Cuba restaurant as far as I can tell. There's also a town called Huzzah, Missouri, not too far south from here. Huzzah. It's kind of fun to say. I've been hanging out at a Starbucks not too far outside of St. Louis for most of the day today, trying to get caught up on editing this video and a couple other things. And it got really cold in there though. Like, I started really starting to get cold, and I thought it was pretty ironic because I was making a video about how to stay cool when it's hot outside and dealing with the heat wave and everything, and I was freezing my butt off shivering, so I thought that was funny. I'm not complaining. I understand why Starbucks are like that. Like, they try to keep it cold because the baristas are like working their butts off behind the bar, and like they're moving around and it gets really hot back there with all the machinery and stuff. So I get why it's like that, but just needed to take a break and come out here and try to warm up. And now I'm sweltering, so it's like one extreme or the other, but I think I'll take this for a little while and then go back in there. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to y'all in the next video.